Pakistan time promptly, with Moulana starting at 5:45 as previously stated. The topic of these majalis is Imam Hussain alayhi salam, a manifestation of the Holy Quran. To start the majlis for today, let me ask Sayyid Aqib Jaffry to come and recite two surahs from the Holy Quran, Suratul Qadr, followed by Surah Quraysh. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها وبإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر صدق الله العلي العظيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Bar Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Can I now request Sayyid Muhammad Jaffry to come and recite from the Holy Quran? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Is tarah theek hai beta, aa jao.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ذكر رحمة ربك عبده زكريا إذ نادى ربه نداء خفيا قال رب إني وهن العظم مني واشتعل الرأس شيبا قال رب إني وهن العظم مني واشتعل الرأس شيبا ولم أكن بدعائك رب شقيا وإني خفت الموالي من ورائي وكانت امرأتي عاقرا فهب لي من لدنك وليا يرثني ويرث من آل يعقوب واجعله ربي رضيا يا زكريا إنا نبشرك بغلام اسمه يحيى لم نجعل له من قبل سميا قال رب أنى يكون لي غلام وكانت امرأتي عاقرا وقد بلغت من الكبر عتيا قال كذلك قال ربك هو علي هين وقد خلقتك من قبل ولم تك شيئا قال رب اجعل لي آية قال رب اجعل لي آية قال آيتك ألا تكلم الناس ثلاث ليال سويا فخرج على قومه من المحراب فأوحى إليهم أن سبحوا بكرة وعشيا يا يحيى خذ الكتاب بقوة وآتيناه الحكم صبيا وحنانا من لدنا وزكاة وكان تقيا وبرا بوالديه ولم يكن جبارا عصيا وسلام عليه يوم ولد ويوم يموت ويوم يبعث حيا صدق الله العلي العظيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Translation करेंगे? Translation.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Merciful, the Beneficent. Kaf ha ya ayn sad. This is an account of your Lord's mercy on his servant Zakaria, when he called out to his Lord with a secret cry. He said, "My Lord, indeed my bones have become feeble, and my head has turned white with age, yet never have I, my Lord, been disappointed in supplicating you. Indeed I fear my kinsman after me, and my wife is barren, so grant me from yourself an heir, who may inherit from me and inherit from the house of Yaqub, and make him, my Lord, pleasing to you. O Zakaria, indeed we give you the good news of a son, whose name is Yahya. Never before have we made anyone his namesake." He said, "My Lord, how shall I have a son when my wife is barren, and I am already advanced in age?" He said, "So shall it be, your Lord has said. It is simple for me. Certainly I created you before, when you were nothing." He said, "My Lord, appoint a sign for me." He said, "Your sign is that you will not speak to the people for 3 complete nights." So he emerged before his people from the temple and signaled to them that they should glorify Allah morning and evening. "O Yahya," we said, "hold on with power to the book," and we gave him judgment while still a child. And in compassion and purity from us, he was God-weary and good to his parents, and was not self-willed or disobedient. Peace be to him the day he was born, and the day he dies, and the day he is raised alive. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
Jazakallah. Jazakallah for that beautiful recitation, Brother Muhammad. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Unique are your sacrifices, Zainab and Hussain. Unique are your sacrifices, Zainab and Hussain.
Unique are your sacrifices, Zainab and Hussain. O glorious progeny of Ahmad Ismail.
O glorious progeny of Ahmad Ismail.
You taught us that only before God we should kneel.
You taught us that only before God we should kneel.
That only if we feel the pain of others can we heal.
That only if we feel the pain of others can we heal.
The world needs your message of Tawheed and love again. Unique are your sacrifices, Zainab and Hussain.
Unique are your sacrifices, Zainab and Hussain.
Everyone. Unique are your sacrifices, Zainab and Hussain. To never surrender our freedom before tyranny.
To never surrender our freedom before tyranny.
To love mothers and daughters and defeat misogyny.
To love mothers and daughters and defeat misogyny.
With honor and righteousness fight every felony.
With honor and righteousness fight every felony.
Enlightened inspiration from your model can we gain. Unique are your sacrifices, Zainab and Hussain.
Unique are your sacrifices, Zainab and Hussain.
One more time.
Unique are your sacrifices, Zainab and Hussain.
With liars and hypocrites you spoke with honesty.
With liars and hypocrites you spoke with honesty.
To inhuman savages you preached humanity.
To inhuman savages you preached humanity.
Responded to crudeness with sensitivity.
Responded to crudeness with sensitivity.
Your life in this world was like in a desert rain. Unique are your sacrifices, Zainab and Hussain.
Unique are your sacrifices, Zainab and Hussain.
One more time.
Unique are your sacrifices, Zainab and Hussain.
Your method so discreet, your purpose reform.
Your method so discreet, your purpose reform.
To free the soul of Deen from hypocritical form.
To free the soul of Deen from hypocritical form.
Resisting those who wish to make exploitation a norm.
Resisting those who wish to make exploitation a norm.
And for these high ideals you would suffer any pain. Unique are your sacrifices, Zainab and Hussain.
Unique are your sacrifices, Zainab and Hussain. Unique are your sacrifices, Zainab and Hussain.
You represented Allah's every prophet's legacy.
You represented Allah's every prophet's legacy.
Inherited the purity of Fatima Ali.
Inherited the purity of Fatima Ali.
But did the Ummah value these pillars of piety?
But did the Ummah value these pillars of piety?
They massacred one and paraded the other in chains. Unique are your sacrifices, Zainab and Hussain. Unique are your sacrifices, Zainab and Hussain. Unique are your sacrifices, Zainab and Hussain. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Brothers and sisters, it is 5:45. We are actually a minute late today, 5:46. As you know, we have the honor of having Hujjatul Islam, Moulana Syed Ali Aqib Jaffry, recite to us a series of majalis on the topic of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, a manifestation of the Holy Quran. Today is the second majlis in the series of 9 majalis. We start the Majlis at 5:25 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time every day, and Maulana takes the minbar at 5:45 p.m. sharp. Apologies for the minute or two of delay today. Just a small announcement before Maulana comes and takes the minbar, which is that if you do have questions and answers pertinent to the content of the Majlis, which is what Maulana recites, you can enter your questions anonymously or with name on slido.com, and if you enter the code Muharram-2022, Muharram-2022, your question will reach us, and after the Nawha and before the Ziyarat, Maulana will address the questions that have been raised. So, with the loudest of salawat, please join me in welcoming Moulana Syed Ali Aqib Jaffry to the minbar to recite the second majlis in this series of majalis. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. ये आपको लिखाना पड़ेगा.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Surah Al-Fatiha for Sayyid Abbas and those who contributed towards this majlis, in the tabarruk of today's majlis, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman. Alhamdulillah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وخاتم النبيين سيدنا ونبينا وشفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب قلوبنا بالقاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الغر الميامين المعصومين من يومنا هذا إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وخطابه المتين وهو أصدق القائلين وقوله الحق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن هذا القرآن يهدي للتي هي أقوم. صلوات. The Holy Quran is a book of guidance sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to all of humanity through His final messenger. There will be no Sharia after Islam, and there will be no divine revelation after this final revelation. The laws of Islam are there to stay till the day of judgment. The haram of Islam will continue to stay haram till the day of judgment, and the halal of Islam will continue to stay halal till the day of judgment. There will be no reform needed in Islam. Yes, there could be reform needed among the Muslims. There could be reform needed among the Muslims. And that is what Imam Hussain ﷺ pointed out when in his will, إِنَّمَا خَرَجْتُ لِطَلَبِ الْإِصْلَاحِ فِي أُمَّةِ جَدِّي. He did not say, I am rising to reform Islam. Islam is not in need of reform, because it has been revealed by the wise, the Almighty, who knows our needs till the day of judgment. All of our needs have been factored in when this final revelation was being revealed. So now whoever puts the Quran in front of him, man ja'alahu amamahu, whoever puts the Quran in front of him, what will the Quran do to him? Qadahu ilal Jannah. The Quran will lead him to Jannah. وَمَنْ جَعَلَهُ خَلْفَهُ, and whoever puts the Quran behind him, what will the Quran do to him? سَاقَهُ إِلَى النَّارِ. The Quran will push him to the hellfire. How we interact and how we engage with this holy book will determine our salvation or damnation. If we choose to follow it, we will be saved. And if we choose to ignore it, we will be doomed. And the same will happen if we choose to selectively follow Islam. If we happen to selectively follow Islam, if we take the bits and pieces of Islam that suit us, that suit our worldly life, and ignore those that conflict with the material gains of this world, there will be humiliation in this world and the hereafter. Hazrat Isa ﷺ said to his companions, do you not see the people of this world? They take from the religion that which does not conflict with their dunya. They take only that from the religion which does not conflict with their dunya. And then he turns to them and says, O people of the akhirah, ya ahl al-akhirah, O those who are working for your akhirah, take from this dunya only that does not conflict with your akhirah. This is a wise decision to make. Because for eternal life is in the hereafter, and this life is a preparation for that eternal life. In Islam and the Holy Prophet, when he came, he said to his companions, he said to his nation, قَدْ جِئْتُكُمْ بِخَيْرِ الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ. I have brought to you a message, the best message that anyone has ever brought for his nation. And then he said, قَدْ جِئْتُكُمْ بِخَيْرِ الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ. I have come with the best of this dunya and akhirah. So Islam does not only focuses on your akhirah, it also wants to improve your dunya as well. And this would be a mistake if we as Muslims ignore the dunya altogether. Islam does not want our dunya to be destroyed. Not to have this dunya. Yes, we need to work in this dunya, for this dunya as well as the akhirah. And if there is a conflict between the dunya and the akhirah, the choice is clear. The choice is clear. We all are in need of Quran. Every human being. The example of Quran is like that of water. You cannot live without water. There are certain fruits you might not have tasted till now, and you can still live without tasting them. A lot of fruits, avocado, many people might not have tasted it. There are other fruits as well. You can live without them, but you cannot live without water. The example of Quran is like that of water. Whether you like it, whether you know it, whether you realize it, we need the Holy Quran. We need to recite it. We need to seek guidance from it. The Holy Quran says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O people who believe, istajibu lillahi walir rasul. Answer the call of Allah and His Messenger when He invites you. Lima yuhyikum, when He invites you towards what brings you to life. What gives you life. Quran gives us life. No one can live without it. We all are in need of the Quran. And this Quran has layers. One should not think that the Quran is specific to the Imams and only the Imams and the Holy Prophet can understand the Quran and no one else can. No. The Quran has a zahir and batin. The tradition says, lahu zaharun wa lahu batinun. It has an apparent and it has a hidden meaning. وَظَاهِرُهُ حُكْمٌ. The zahir is a hukm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَبَاطِنُهُ عِلْمٌ. And the batin is knowledge. Every ruling that you find in the Holy Quran is not an ambiguous ruling. There is knowledge backing that ruling. We might not understand that ruling fully and completely, because وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِّنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. You have not been given knowledge except a very little knowledge. So because of our limited knowledge, we might not understand the backing behind a lot of the rulings of Islam. ظَاهِرُهُ حُكْمٌ. The zahir of the Quran is a hukm of Allah. وَبَاطِنُهُ عِلْمٌ. If we were to dissect and if we were to open, every verse of the Holy Quran deserves many PhDs, not a single PhD. There's so many dimensions that this Holy Quran has in its batin. One of the verses of the Holy Quran says that the people of that time, they came to the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with questions. يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ. They ask you regarding gambling, regarding khamr and gambling, wine and gambling. And you find this word yas'alunaka, they ask you 12 to 13 times in the Holy Quran. They used to come to the Holy Prophet with questions. And Islam encourages questions. There is not a religion that discourages questions. No. It invites you to question. One should question their religion, their beliefs, their faith. Islam does not discourage that. In fact, this probably might be the only religion with so much emphasis on asking questions. And so many questions have been asked, the Quran narrates that, and we find a lot of questions being asked and answered by our Imams. They are the ones who have actually championed the statement of Saluni, Saluni. No one else have challenged humanity with such a phrase. And whoever challenged got humiliated. Yas'alunaka anil khamr. In one of the traditions, the Imam says, Al-ilmu khaza'in. Knowledge is treasure. Wa miftahuhu as-su'al. And its key is to ask questions. Another tradition says, Husnus su'al nisful ilm. A good question is half of the answer. It's half of knowledge. Asking the right questions is another art. And then the motivation behind asking the question is also important. A person came to Imam Hassan alayhi salatu wassalam, and he asked this question, Ma ta'amul Ma, what is the taste of water? And the Imam realized the motivation behind this question, and before answering the question, the Imam said, Sal tafaqquhan wala tas'al ta'annutan. Ask to seek knowledge, ask to understand. Don't ask to test others or to put others in difficulty. And then he answered the question, Ta'amul ma ya ta'amul hayat. The taste of water is the taste of life. Taste of water is the taste of life. So yas'alunaka anil khamri wal maisir. They ask you regarding khamr, wine, and gambling. قُلْ فِيهِمَا إِثْمٌ قَبِيرٌ. Say to them, in it there is a great sin. In both of them is a great sin. وَمَنَافِعُ لِلنَّاسِ. And benefit for the people. There is benefit. And a great sin. وَإِثْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِنْ نَفْعِهِمَا. But the sin is greater than the benefit. Humans cannot understand that completely. At least as of today. At least as of today. So there is benefit, some benefit, and there is a great sin. And the sin, the bad effects outweigh the good effects, outweigh the benefits. That is why it is haram. Zahiruhu hukmun wa batinuhu ilmun. There is knowledge. You look at the laws of inheritance. Look at the other laws of fasting. 1 month from the time of Fajr till the time of Maghrib. Science will discover a lot more wisdom behind these rulings in times to come. Because these rulings are backed by knowledge. Zahiruhu hukmun wa batinuhu ilmun. The next sentence from the Imam regarding the Quran says, Zahiruhu aniq wa batinuhu amiq. The apparent, the zahir of the Quran is mystifying, and its batin is deep. Not everyone, just like the ocean. Everybody can benefit from the ocean. Some go to the ocean, they benefit by looking at the ocean. Some swim in it. Some go for a boat ride. Some fish in it. Everybody can get something out of the ocean based on their capabilities. And then there are some divers who can go and dive deep into the sea and come out with pearls. You need expertise for that. In the tradition, it says that the Quran has certain layers. One layer of the Quran is the ibarat, the text. And the ibarat is for the awam, it's for the common people. Another layer is the ishara, the pointers, the clues. They are for the khawas. And it also, other than that, it has lataif, delicacies. Those are for the awliya. Those who have submitted themselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Quran will manifest its delicacies and complicacies to them. And it has the haqa'iq, the realities. And those are for the anbiya. So whoever, the Holy Prophet, the Quran was revealed unto him. The haqa'iq, the realities of the Quran was what he received on his sadr, on his qalb, on his heart. And the Quran says that in the Quran you will find fihi khabrukum wa khabru man qablakum wa khabru man ba'dakum. So if somebody has received the realities of the Quran in his existence, it would not be surprising if he can reveal the news of the past and the news of the present and the news of the future. Because he embodies the realities of the Holy Quran. Zahiruhu hukmun wa batinuhu ilmun. Zahiruhu aniq, mystifying, wa batinuhu amiq. And on the day of judgment, the reality of Quran will become manifest on all. There's a beautiful tradition which says that on the day of judgment, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will gather awwaleen wal akhirin, all of humanity from the first day till the last day, all of them will be gathered. One of the names of the day of judgment is Yawma Tublas Sarair, the day when the realities will become manifest. Our inner realities, we look humans from the outside, but not every one of us is a human. And this is a difference between other creatures and those who are blessed with free will. When a lion gives birth, a lioness gives birth to its child, it is a lion. And it will grow and become a lion or a lioness. The same goes with fox, the same goes with tiger, the same goes with the dog or a cat. But when a human child is born, it has the tendency, the potential to become a human. It could become a beast. It could become anything depending on the choices it will make in its lifetime. That is how we differ, we who are blessed with free will, and that is why guidance is needed so that we can make the right choices. Based on the choices we make in this dunya, I might have mentioned this last year as well, but because of the youth here, it deserves that this statement be repeated. That we are different from the animals and we are different from the angels. How are we different from the animals? Animals do not have aql. They do not have intellect. It is their instincts and their desires, the desire to eat, the desire to defend themselves, the instinct to defend themselves, the desire to reproduce, to relax, to rest, what drives their life. That is how their drive is driven. Their life is driven. They eat when they're hungry, they sleep when they're tired. So their life is driven by their desires and their instincts. Angels, on the other hand, they are blessed with intellect. They are blessed with aql. They have aql and no desires, no instincts. And aql invites you to obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is the aql that tells you to submit to the ultimate Lord. And that is why the angels do not sin. Humans in between have both aql and desires. And free will as well. And based on the choices you make, if you choose to run your life based on your aql, you can also make a decision to run your life based on your desires. If you choose to run your life, if you choose your desires to be in the driving seat of your life, you become like the animals. No, you become worse than the animals. Because they did not have aql, they had instinct, and that is how they run their lives. They ran their lives based on their instinct. You who have been blessed with aql and desires, if you choose to run your lives based on your desires and imprison your aql, you are worse than the animals. And if you choose to run your life based on your aql and your intellect, and you put your intellect in the driving seat, then you not only become human, or an angel, you become better than the angels. You become better than the angels. That is why you see, when the Holy Prophet had gone to Miraj, there was a level where Jibreel stopped. I cannot go beyond. This is my limit. But the limit of the perfect man is beyond that, is higher than that. Because you have imprisoned your desires by your aql. Amir al-Mu'minin salatu wa salam, he recited salawat. In one of the statements says, Kam min aqlin asirin tahta hawa amir. How many intellects are imprisoned by desires? And the Holy Prophet and Islam and the divine trustees of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of their missions was to free humanity and their intellect from the chains of desires. It's one of their missions, because it is after this freedom is achieved that man can submit and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yawm al-tubla sarair, on the day of judgment, the realities will manifest itself. The Holy Quran in one of the verses says, Man a'raza an zikri, whoever turns away from my zikr, fa inna lahu ma'ishatan zanka, he will have a tight livelihood. If you turn away from the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fa inna lahu ma'ishatan zanka, principle from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your livelihood will be tight. If you want to increase your rizq, turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And not only that, وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى, and we will raise him on the day of judgment as a blind person. This is strange. In this dunya you had eyes, or one had eyes, and in the hereafter you'll be raised blind. The next verse of the Holy Quran says, قَالَ رَبِّي لِمَا حَشَرْتَنِي عَامًا وَقَدْ كُنْتُ بَصِيرًا. Why did you raise me as a blind person while I had eyes in the dunya? Why did that happen? And it will be said to him that our signs came to you and you forgot our signs, and today you will be forgotten. In other words, it says that they have hearts but they do not think. They have eyes but they do not see. They have ears but they do not listen. So if this is the state, if this is our state in this dunya, it will manifest itself in the akhirah. Those people will be raised blind and deaf and mute. And if they complain, it will be said to them, this was your reality in this dunya. We might all be in human form, but our reality is what is within us, what is driving our lives. So when you pick up your mobile and you have the option, you have the free will to click on a button and see an image, you have to stop and think, am I listening to my intellect, or am I listening to my desires? When there's a pizza slice in front of you, you have to stop and think, is it halal for me to consume this food? Is it haram on me to consume this food? The decision you make, if you are basing your decisions on your intellect, you are better than the angels. And if you are basing your decisions on your desires, you are worse than the animals. This is the message of Islam. This is why prophets were sent. And we need to focus on this message. This is why Imam Hussain ﷺ gave up his life, so that this path to perfection should stay alive for all times to come. Because if this path, this halal and haram was to disappear, there was not going to be any message after the final message. And if this message was wiped off, if this message was erased, then the whole purpose of creation of mankind and jinn would be useless. The purpose of creation would fail because there is no message left to follow. There is no path to follow. The sacrifice of Imam Hussain ﷺ and those who commemorate the sacrifice need to realize the importance of what Imam Hussain did and how it affects us and how it affects all of humanity. The holy the final day, the day of judgment, is called Yawma Tubla Sarair. So on the day of judgment, Quran will manifest itself in its true reality. The tradition says on the day of judgment, when the Awwaleen and Akhirin will be gathered, suddenly they will see a being which is so beautiful that no one had ever seen such a beautiful being before. They will be excited, they will look at it, and this being will start approaching them. And in the row of the Mu'mineens, they will say, Haza minna, he's one of us. It seems that they would be expecting this being to come and join them in that row. But that being will come and cross them. It will not stop there. And then they will say, Hazal Quran. This is the Quran. It did not stop in that row. It will move forward and will cross the row of the Shuhada. And the tradition doesn't say that, but it seems that they will also be waiting for this being to stop in their row, thinking that it is one of them, till this being will cross them, and then they will say, Hazal Quran. This is the Quran. And it will start approaching or going towards the row of the messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when it crosses them, they will say, Hazal Quran. And they would never have seen such a beautiful being before in their life. And this being of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cross that row as well. And it will be moving towards the row of the Malaika. And it would not even stop there, and cross them. And they would say, Hazal Quran. Till this being will move towards the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and stand on the right hand side. And when it will stand, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will then address everyone, saying, Wa izzati wa jalali wa irtifa'i makani. I swear by my izzat and my jalal and my lofty station, La ukrimanna al-yawm man akramaka. Today I will verily honor those who honored you in their lifetime. La ukrimannaka al-yawm man akramaka. Wala uhinanna man ahanaka. And I will disgrace those who disgraced you. This is the reality of the Holy Quran that we have before us today, that will manifest itself on the day of judgment. And those who are the vessels of the realities of the Quran, what would their reality be? What would their reality be when the Holy Prophet says, Inni tarikun fikum al-thaqalain, I'm leaving behind two weighty things, Kitab Allah wa Itrati, my Ahlul Bayt and the Holy Book. They are both weighty things. They both are in need of each other. They are not going to separate from each other. Hatta yarida alayya al-haus, till they reach me on the day of judgment at the house of Kausar, at the pool of Kausar. The reality of the Ahlul Bayt cannot be imagined. It is the vessel of the Holy Quran in this dunya. Imagine their station in the hereafter. Those who embody, have the ilm of the Holy Quran, what powers they would carry and what divine obligations they carry. All of you have heard that story, and I'll quickly go over it, of Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam. You all know that Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam was blessed with the kingdom that no one was blessed before and no one will be blessed after him. And as a result of this great blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his station in the hereafter takes a hit. He will be the last among all the prophets to enter paradise. The last among all the prophets to enter paradise. Why? Because of the accountability of this great blessing. The Holy Prophet of ours was also given the option. An angel, a great angel came to him with salams from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says Allah is sending his salams, and he says, if you wish, this mountain will be turned into gold for you. And you know, the Muslims were in terrible financial status at that point. And there will be no consequence in the hereafter because of this. Your station in the hereafter will remain the same. But the Holy Prophet denied, rejected this proposal from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, saying that I want aju'u yawman ashba'u yawman fa ahmaduka. I prefer to be full one day and thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa aju'u yawman wa as'aluka. And I prefer to be hungry the other day and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when I'm hungry, and to thank Him one day when I'm full. The station of the Holy Prophet was not going to get affected, but probably he rejected that because of what he knew of his nation, of his ummah. The Holy Prophet, despite living such a simple life, look at how his nation is running after wealth. Imagine what would have happened if the Holy Prophet had taken that. So this Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam, when the queen of Bilqis, the queen of Saba, Bilqis, was coming to see him, he asked whoever amongst you from his people in his court, he asked whoever from among you can bring that takht, the what you call that, the throne of, thank you, the throne of Bilqis, before she comes to me. The Quran says, قَالَ إِفْرِيتٌ مِّنَ الْجِنِّ. One of the jinns said, أَنَا آتِيكَ بِهِ. I will bring it to you before you stand up from your throne, before this gathering is dismissed. And I am qawi, and I have the power to do that. So he presented his services. But the Quran says, قَالَ, said one of man indahu ilmul kitab, one who had the knowledge, ilmu minal kitab, who had knowledge of the book, part of the knowledge of the book. Ana atika bihi, I will bring it to you before you blink your eye. This person was Asif bin Barqiyah, who had part of the knowledge of the book. He did not have knowledge of the entire book. So a person who has part of the knowledge of the holy book, he has the powers to bring the throne of Bilqis so many millions of hundreds of miles away within the blinking of an eye. Imagine the powers of a person who would have the knowledge of the entire book with him. What powers would that person entail? And the Holy Quran says, when the people who disbelieved came to the Holy Prophet and said, يَقُولُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَسْتَ مُرْسَلًا, you are not the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The prophets, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, قُلْ, say to them, كَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَكُمْ وَمَنْ عِنْدَهُ عِلْمُ الْكِتَابِ. Say to them that for a witness is enough Allah. So Allah placed Himself first of all as the witness to the messengership of the Holy Prophet, and one more person was needed. He looked in all of creation, wanted to choose the best of them, but he was the Holy Prophet himself. He could not be chosen because the shahadat, the testimony, was regarding the Holy Prophet himself. So whoever was best after the Holy Prophet, God chose him to bear witness of the messengership of the Holy Prophet and testify that he has ilmul kitab, the knowledge of the entire book. The person who has knowledge of the entire book, imagine the powers they would have. When the person who has only knowledge of the part of the book, the powers that he had. So it is not surprising to see miraculous acts happen by those who have the knowledge of the book, the complete knowledge of the book. And with this divine knowledge which God has trusted them with, They are the divine trustees of Allah's knowledge. And Allah does not give knowledge to someone who cannot manifest it. And if somebody cannot act on his knowledge, this knowledge leaves that person. And the status that that person have would become a tool in the hands of shaitan. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to give knowledge of His book to someone who cannot manifest it. And these divine trustees are none but the Ahlul Bayt. Amirul Mu'min, starting with Amirul Mu'minin Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawatullahi alayhi, till the 12th Imam. And with this divine trust comes a divine obligation to guard and defend the frontiers and borders of this book. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will only give this trust to someone who has the ability to guard it. And if someone fails, it will be the institution of Tawheed that will get affected. That will be at stake. The knowledge and wisdom of Allah will be under question. That is why when Imam Hussain alayhi salam stood up and he sacrificed everything. When you sacrifice something, everything you have, you must be protecting and preserving something that is bigger than yourself. You don't sacrifice something valuable for something that is less valuable. It always, a sacrifice is made for something that is more valuable. Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam sacrificed himself, his family, his children, everything he had to protect Tawheed. That makes this movement special. No other sacrifice, no other tragedy can compare to this. This is not just a tragedy. It is a movement. It is a Hamas. It's an inspiration. It would be wrong to limit Karbala to a tragedy that happened 14 years ago and compare it with the other tragedies of the world. With other tragedies, if those people had the chance, they would have avoided that tragedy. But with Imam Hussain alayhi salam, if he were to be put in this situation again, he would do the same. This makes this movement special, and we need to realize that. And you cannot compare this movement with any other movement. Protecting the divine station of Tawheed, protecting the message that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent for all of humanity. When the letter from Yazid came to Walid, the governor of Medina, asking him to seek allegiance from Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam and Abdullah ibn Zubair, and in case they refuted, to behead them and send their heads, Walid became scared. He knew the station Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam held and the consequences that would happen, the consequence of beheading him. So he called Marwan for advice. Marwan had been the previous wali of Medina once, and he was an enemy of the Ahlul Bayt. And he said, you should call them immediately, and if they deny, you should behead them. For if Imam Hussain finds out that the governor, the ruler of Sham has died, he will never pay allegiance to Yazid. And not only that, he will invite others to not pay allegiance. So you should call them immediately. So he listened to his advice. He sent his messenger. Abdullah ibn Zubair and Imam Hussain were together. Imam Hussain returned the messenger. He said, I will come. Abdullah ibn Zubair asked, what do you think has happened? He said, I think Muawiyah has died and Yazid has taken the throne and he wants allegiance from me. So what are you going to do? So I'm going to go. It is not safe to go. I will not go alone. I will go with my companions. I will go with my tribe. And he went with this tribe and he said to his family members, you should stay outside the mosque, outside the office of Walid, and do not enter until you hear me shout, and do not leave your posts until I come out of this place. So he entered the place, and his family members standing outside, and they had a discussion. Walid showed the letter to him. This is what has happened. Imam looked at the letter and he said, would it not be wise if I answered you in broad daylight? These such important matters should be discussed in daylight. When you invite others, I will give you my response. Marwan was there next to me. He said, if you let Hussain go, you'll never be able to overpower him again. This is your only chance. Ask him to pay allegiance or kill him. And when he said that, Imam Hussain alayhi salam turned to him and called him by his mother's name, Yabna Zarqa. Anta ta'amuru bi zarbi unuki. Are you the one who is going to behead me? He became in his jalal, and then he gave his response and his mission statement, turning to Walid, Ayyuhal Amir, Inna Ahlu Baytin Nabuwa. We are the Ahlu Bayt of the Hali household. Wa ma'adinu risala, and the ores of risalat. وَمُخْتَلَفَ الْمَلَائِكَةِ, and the places where the malaika descend and ascend. وَبِنَا فَتَحَ اللَّهُ وَبِنَا خَتَمَ اللَّهُ, and through us God started everything, and with us God will end everything. This is who we are. And then introduced Yazid. Yazid, رَجُلٌ فَاسِقٌ شَارِبُ الْخَمْرِ, and Yazid is a man who is fasiq, who is sharibul khamr, who drinks. وَقَاتِلُ النَّفْسِ الْمُحَرَّمَةِ, and he has killed honor, he has secret blood on his hands. Mu'linun bil fisq, he openly does fisq. Laysa lahu hazihil manzila, this station of imarat does not belong to him. Wa misli la yuba'iu misla, and the likes of me will never do the bay'ah of the likes of him. This response from Imam, he states, giving his mission statement, I am not going to do bay'ah of this person. I am more deserving of this station. And why did he say, Sharibul Khamr, drinking something, drinking wine is a personal act. Why does this become highlighted? Because in another correspondence that he was having with the ruler of Sham, when he was wanting to appoint Yazid as his Khalifa, and he said to the Imam, why do you backbite Yazid? Why do you say bad things about Yazid? This is ghiba, you should not be saying that. Yazid never says anything about you, but you, Imam Hussain, you always speak bad about him. Imam wrote to him, he says, Sharibul muskir min al fasiqeen, whoever drinks is from the fasiqeen. Sharibul muskir laysa bi'aminin ala dirhamin fakayfa ala al-ummah. A person who drinks cannot be trusted with one dirham. How can we trust him with the entire ummah? Whoever drinks, the Imam never did business with people who drank alcohol. They cannot be trusted with a penny. How can you entrust the entire ummah with him? Saying that, he left the palace of Walid, came back to his household and asked them to prepare for a long journey. It was not easy for Imam Hussain ﷺ to leave Medina. It was very difficult for him. There were memories that he had of his grandfather, of his father, of his mother, of his family, of his childhood. He went in the middle of the night, in the beginning of the night rather, he went to the grave of his grandfather. Assalamu alayka ya Rasulallah. O Messenger of Allah, my greetings unto you. Then he introduced himself. Ana al-Hussain ibn Fatima. I am Hussain, the son of Fatima. I am your son. I am the son of your daughter. I am your grandson whom you had entrusted me to this ummah. And I've come to you with a complaint. This ummah has let me down. They did not protect me. And then he left. only to return again in the middle of the night. Perhaps he was seeking permission from the Holy Prophet to leave the holy city of Medina. He came again, turning to the grave, praying to Allah. He says, Allahumma haza qabru nabiyyik. Oh Allah, this is the grave of your messenger. And I am the son of the daughter of your messenger. And you know that I have been faced with the matter. And you know that I love ma'roof and I hate the munkar. I love good deeds and I hate evil deeds. I have been faced with a choice, and you surely know what I'm going to do. And after these statements, Imam Hussain took a little nap, and in his nap, he saw the Holy Prophet show in his dream with 1,000 angels. And he kissed the Imam on his forehead. And he said to his child, "Oh Hussain, I am seeing you on the plains of Karbala. I am seeing that you are thirsty and hungry. You're lying on the plains of Karbala and no one is giving you even a drop of water. Your father is awaiting you. Your mother is waiting for you. Your brother and I am waiting for you." This was the permission granted to Imam Hussain to leave Medina. Imam Hussain left Medina, but he did not leave Medina like a runaway slave. He left with grandeur, with majesty. His entire family left with him. The men were with him. The family was with him. The women had children in their laps. The entire family was leaving. But on the day of Ashura, the family of the Ahlul Bayt began to leave. The companions were the first one to enter the battlefield and leave Imam Hussain. After the companions, it was the turn of the Ahlul Bayt. They gradually left the Imam one after the other, and the army of Imam Hussain began to dwindle till a time came when Imam Hussain alayhi salam was left all alone by himself, and he entered the battlefield. There were many nahas that the ladies of the haram read on the day of Ashur, and after that, on the day of Ashur, when Imam Hussain alayhi salam had fallen on the battlefield, Lady Zainab had a naha to read. She turned to the crowd, she turned to the enemy and said, "Alaysa fikum Muslim? Is there no Muslim among you? Are you not Muslims? The grandson of the Holy Prophet is being slaughtered. You're not going to do anything." There was no reply. Then she turned to Umar Saad and said, "Yabna Saad, Saad, O Saad, son of the companion of the Holy Prophet, Imam Ayuqtalo Abu Abdullah wa anta tanzuru ilayh." The son of the Holy Prophet is being martyred, is being slaughtered. You're not going to do anything. He had no reply. He turned his face away and started to cry. There were many such nahas that we are recorded in the history, but the naha I want to recite tonight is the naha which Umm Kulthum recited when she was entering Medina. When this caravan was freed and it was entering Medina, Umm Kulthum recited this Medina, saying, "Madinata jaddina la taqbalina." Eh mere जद के मदीना हमें कबूल न करना, फ़बिल हसराते वल अहज़ाने जअना। हम हसरतें लेकर और गम लेकर पलट रहे हैं। खरजना मिन के बेअहलीना जमअन। जब हम इस शहर से गए थे तो अपने अहलो अयाल को अपने साथ लेकर गए थे। अकबर हमारे साथ थे, कासिम हमारे साथ थे, अली असगर हमारे साथ थे, सकीना हमारे साथ थी। वजना ला रिजालन वला बनीना। अब हम जब पलट कर आ रहे हैं, ना कोई मर्द है ना कोई औलाद है। फिर रसूल खुदा को मुखातिब होकर कहा, वरहतुका या रसूल अल्लाह उज़हू। ए रसूल खुदा, आपकी ज़ुर्रियत को ज़िबा कर डाला गया। अराया बित्तुफूफ़े मुसल्लबीना। और उनके जनाजे सहरा में बेगोरो कफन पड़े हैं। फिर जनाब सैयदा को मुखातिब होकर कहती हैं कि फातिमा सलामुल्लाह अलैहा, अगर आप अपनी बेटियों को देख लेती कि असीरी की हालत में किस तरह दर बदर फिराई जा रही थी, तो जब तक जिंदा रहती ता क़यामत आप उन पर गिरिया करती। फिर एक मर्तबा फिर अपने जद को मुखातिब होकर कहा, अला या जद्दना क़तलू हुसैना, ऐ हमारे जद, इस उम्मत ने हुसैन को कत्ल कर डाला और आपके पाप की, आपकी आबरू का, आपकी हुर्मत का जरा भी पास न रखा। लानतुल्लाहि अलल कौमिज़ ज़ालिमीन। परवरदिगार इस इबादत को अपनी बारगाह में मंजूर फरमा, हाज़रीन मजलिस की तमाम शरई हाजात को अपनी बारगाह में कबूल फरमा। मातम हुसैन।
Can you hear it loud and clear, the call of Sayyid al-Shuhada? Hal min nasir yansuruna, hal min nasir yansuruna. On that day of Ashura, from that land of Karbala, hal min nasir yansuruna, hal min nasir yansuruna. Can you hear it loud and clear, the call of Sayyid al-Shuhada? Hal min nasir yansuruna, hal min nasir yansuruna. On that day of Ashura, from that land of Karbala, hal min nasir yansuruna, hal min nasir yansuruna. Battered and surrounded by the likes of Shimro Hurmala, hal min nasir yansuruna, hal min nasir yansuruna. Hurt and thirsty, yet his cry reaches everyone near and far. Hal min nasir yansuruna, hal min nasir yansuruna, hal min nasir yansuruna. Everyone, hal min nasir yansuruna, hal min nasir yansuruna, hal min nasir yansuruna. There is no Qasim, no Akbar, oh no Muhammad Abdullah. There is no Abbas or Hur, no Muslim ibn Awsija. Hal min nasir yansuruna, hal min nasir yansuruna, hal min nasir yansuruna, hal min nasir yansuruna. We wish we were there to say labbaik ya ibn Rasulillah.
We wish we could have responded to your call of Ashura. We wish we were there to say, Labbaika ya ibna Rasulillah. We wish we could have responded to your call of Ashura. هل من ناصر ينصرنا هل من ناصر ينصرنا Everyone
هل من ناصر
ينصرنا هل من ناصر ينصرنا 1400 years it's been, still it feels like yesterday. Your Halmin still resonates in the minds of your Shia. Hal min nasir yansuruna, hal min nasir yansuruna, hal min nasir yansuruna, hal min nasir yansuruna. We will be your messengers, we will propagate your name. We will spread the light of justice through the power of your flame. But if we want to be this way, if we wish to say labbaik, we must first begin to see. We must first begin to take every day as Ashura, every land as Karbala. Kullu yawmin Ashura, kullu ardhin Karbala. Everyone, every day as Ashura, every land as Karbala. Kullu yawmin Ashura, kullu ardhin Karbala. Hal min nasir yansuruna, hal min nasir yansuruna, hal min nasir yansuruna, hal min nasir. Everyone, هل من ناصر ينصرنا هل من ناصر ينصرنا هل من ناصر ينصرنا هل من ناصر ينصرنا يا حسين صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Brothers and sisters, please take a seat for 10 minutes. Moulana Syed Aqib Jaffry will address questions from the audience or those that have been submitted online. And if you have questions from the floor, you can ask as well. Moulana, over to you.
Very good question. Let me repeat the question. In the story of Hazrat Khidr and Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, we see Hazrat Musa alayhi salam killing a boy for a crime he has not committed yet. Whereas in history you find that Ibn Muljim offered Imam Ali himself to Imam Ali that if I am going to be your killer in future, why don't you kill me right now? And Imam said, how can I kill you for a crime you have not committed? So why is there this contradiction? It's a very good question, and I'm glad that you asked and that it popped up in your mind. Hazrat Khidr, inshallah, I hope that I'm able to address this in 2 to 3 minutes. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has his agents working at different levels. So the Prophet of Allah subhanahu, any Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings a divine religion and a set of laws, and he has to abide by those laws. Okay. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have angels. Right? When an angel comes to take someone's life, the angel will not be punished for taking his life. Right? Why? Because they are instructed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do this act. Right? Sometimes we do a bad deed, and as a result of that, an angel is appointed to punish us for that. Right? So if he comes and does something to our car breaks down, or we are in an accident because that angel made sure that happened because of something bad we have done, that angel is not going to be held responsible. But that angel is not working within the realms of the Sharia. Do you get it? So Hazrat Khidr ﷺ was operating at a higher level. He was not operating under the Sharia of Hazrat Musa ﷺ. And at the end, the Holy Quran says, he says, I did not do that out of my own command. He was commanded by Allah to do these things. It was as if an angel is doing it. So do you follow now? Thank you. Any other question? Yes, Sister Muhammad from there.
My question was, how did Imam Hussain sacrifice?
How did his sacrifice protect Tawheed? We did talk about that today. Inshallah, in the coming days, I will address it in more detail. But to summarize it, Imam Hussain was the divine representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Allah had appointed him as his divine representative and the divine trustee of his divine knowledge. If Allah appointed someone as his divine representative, and that representative went and did bay'ah of someone else, it is as if he has backed out of his mission. Right? I sent someone that I trust to go do this job, and midway he sides with the enemy. What would this tell you about my knowledge and my wisdom? What would it say? That I was not wise to make this choice. I did not have enough knowledge to appoint the right person. Right? So if Imam Hussain had done bay'ah of Yazid, it would mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not have enough knowledge and wisdom to make the right choice. If the knowledge of Allah gets under question, nothing is left of the station of Tawheed. Does that answer your question? Any other question? These are actually very important and very deep questions, and I'm glad that the youth are asking these questions. So if there are other questions, there's one or two questions online, and let me read them. How will we recognize the Imam of our time when he appears? Very good question. We need to do a little bit of reading and to find out if we were in those times and one of the Imams passed away, how would we have identified the next Imam, and how did the people of those days identify the next Imam? One of the ways where the previous Imam would tell you who the next Imam would be, so it was easy, but not everybody knew that. Not everybody knew that. They had to wait and they had to look for certain signs. There are certain signs that the Imam can show, certain miracles. For example, the Hajar-e-Aswad, the black stone, will testify if the Imam asks him to testify for his imamat. That is one sign. The Imam will speak all languages. That's another sign. The bar that we have for the Imam is very high. It's very high, and that is why we cannot be easily fooled by false Imams. If the bar was low, like some of the other sects, it's very easy to fool them and for someone to claim to be an Imam and rule over them. So there's a lot more that you need to. They will be the divine representatives of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They will know the Quran inside out. There will not be a single question that they would say, I don't know. The fadail that we hear, they will have the same fazail. And there are other signs in the books as well. For example, the armor of the Holy Prophet will fit him exactly. He will have the miracles of all the previous prophets, the staff of Musa. So all of these would be ways to figure out the 12th Imam when he reappears. Yes.
I have a question regarding that specific story that regarding Ifrit and how he was able to do, but the other companion who had only a little bit of knowledge of the book was able to do. So my question is, that companion wasn't a prophet himself. He was just a companion. And that specific knowledge regarding the book, all the Imams and the prophets possess that not specific knowledge. So my question to you is there any way of Muslim, woman nowadays, to possess that specific knowledge or even acquire it?
Okay. I don't know how I can rephrase that question. The question is it possible for us Muslims to have part of the knowledge of the book? First of all, that companion who had part of the knowledge of the book was not an ordinary companion. He was the representative and the wasi of Hazrat Sulaiman. His name was Asif bin Barqiya. He was the wasi and the divine Khalifa of the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is certain knowledge that is specific to the Imams and the divine representatives which we might not have access to. But it does not mean that there is tons of knowledge accessible to us which we can have, and with that will come certain powers that we can manifest within ourselves. If we manifest certain verses of the Holy Quran, certain powers will be granted to us. Man yattaqillah, for example, whoever exercises taqwa, Allah grants him furqan, the ability to discern between haqq and batil. So whoever exercises taqwa will get that. To whatever degree you do that, you will get that. So in cases when things go rough and you don't know which way, when people don't know where is haqq and where is batil, if you're exercising taqwa in your life, you will see that where haqq is. So yes, there is a certain level of knowledge that is accessible to us individuals who are not connected, who are not divine representatives, but we are connected to the divine personalities. That is a condition. If you are not connected to those divine personalities, that will not come. But if you're connected, that will come and can come. Yeah, one last question. What is the password for this? So this is one more question here, and we'll finish with that. And I apologize for the delay in today's session. Why do certain nations in the world prosper, and why do certain nations do not prosper? The answer is very simple. If we follow the rules of Allah, if we follow the laws of Allah to the fullest, we will prosper. And if we pick and choose, just like we as Muslims, we claim to have the divine book, but we don't act on it. We don't even act on the dictates of aql. As opposed to the West. The West says we don't want the book, we will take the aql and go with that. They took the aql and did whatever their aql told them to do. Right? And they built their civilization, so-called civilization, on that. But we, when it comes to the divine book, we say we have the divine book and this is the complete set of laws and we'll follow this. But then we don't want to follow it. And then when our aql tells us to do something else, we say, well, we have the religion, so why do we need our aql to guide us? At the end, we neither listen to the aql nor we listen to the religion. And that is why we suffer. So if we stayed steadfast to our religion and followed it completely to the fullest, we would have prospered as well. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب وصي رسول الله. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. All together. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليك يا علي بن موسى والمرتضى وأبي بن قدر والقضاء. السلام عليك يا مغيث الشيعة والزوار في يوم الجزاء. السلام عليك وعلى أختك فاطمة المعصومة ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولانا يا صاحب العصر والزمان. الأمان 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 من فتن الزمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن. السلام عليك يا شريك الرحمن. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وجعلنا من أنصارك وأعوانك والمستشهدين بين يديك. السلام